Welcome. This might be the first video you see with this hat on, but it says New Jersey, which means I'm awesome. Okay, test review. So your test is on Thursday. You probably will have block with me this week, so that's a good thing so you can spend a lot of time with the test. Shouldn't be terrible. Now there's going to be questions that you're going to hate, and there's going to be questions that you absolutely love, but let's go through some of the ones that you might hate. Now I hope you can see this. If you can't, blow it up, you know what I'm saying? All right, test review. Number one, I need the cube root, that's a 3, of 8x to the 10th, y to the 6th, z to the 7th. Okay, so you're going to see something like that on the test. Now, break it up into its individual parts. So I know this is the cube root of 8, right, times the cube root of x to the 10th, times the cube root of y to the 6th, times the cube root of z to the 7th, okay? Remember, we're trying to pull out sets of 3. So I know that 8 is a perfect cube, so I can just pull a 2 out of that. All right, done. Times. So how many sets of 3 x's can I pull out? Well, I can pull 3 out, right? And I have to label that as x to the 3rd, but there's going to be something left over because it won't fit evenly, and there's one x left. Okay. Here, there are 2 sets of 3 y's, so I can pull 2 sets of 3 y's out. Done. And then z, which looks like a 2, it's not, it's a z. Zzz. Okay. I can pull 2 sets of z out, but I'm left with 1 underneath because it won't fit. Okay. Now I can just kind of squeeze all this together. Remember, all the stuff that came out of the radical has to go in front, and then all the stuff that's left in jail has to stay there. So this is going to be 2x to the 3rd, y to the 2nd, z to the 2nd, square root x, z. Done. Okay? Done. I know that made it look a little easier than it is. Trust me, these are not easy problems, but once you get the flow of taking a set of 3 out, it should be a little bit easier for you. Okay? Leave that there for a second. This is x to the negative 4th divided by x to the negative 5th. But remember the rule. This is actually going to be x to the minus 4 minus negative 5. Right? Because there's a minus sign that's built in here imaginally. So, imaginally, I didn't say that word correctly. So this is going to be x to the 1st, which is just x. Okay? Struggle with it, right? Plug in 1 and use your calculator to figure it out. It should end up being x, right? Or plug in 2 if 1 doesn't feel good enough for you. Okay? Number 3. A triangle with sides of 65, 72, and 97. Is it right? Ooh, good question, right? Mr. D, nice question. So we can just label a triangle. Hopefully you can see it. The longest side has to be the hypotenuse, always. So 65, it can be anything. And then 72, it can be anything. So let's plug it in, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Right? So we can make this a. We can make that b. And let's make that c. All right, so 65 squared. I probably should have done this without having to do this here. 4,000. Wow, 4,225. 72 squared. 5,184. And 97 squared. Hopefully these numbers work. 9409. Okay. So basically, this is a sentence, and it has to be true or false, right? So let's add these 2 up. I think I made a good choice. And this side of the equal sign equals 9409, and that side of the equal sign equals 9409. So we can put the little box there because, yes, this is a right triangle because both sides work. Very good. Number 4. Simplify or solve. You're probably going to see simplify on the test. Don't freak out about it, though. So 4 distributes to 2a. 8a, 4 distributes to positive 3. 12 equals negative 3a plus 3, right? 2 negative signs give me a positive, plus 31. Can't simplify over here, but I can here. So this is going to be 8a plus 12 equals negative 3a plus 34. Let's get rid of that 12 on both sides. Done. 8a whoop, equals negative 3a plus 22 plus 3a plus 3a. This is going to be 11a equals 22. And a, that's not a 9, that's an a. And that's an a as well. Sorry, guys. A equals 2. Bam. If you're not sure about the answer, you get something crazy, plug it back in and see what you got. This is how I would simplify. If I was asking to simplify, this is probably the line I'd say. Or I'd pull that and I'd have 11a equals 22. Okay? Number 5. Root 2 times the quantity, root 20 plus 5. Rational or irrational? Well, I could go through this entire process, right? Which I probably will because I actually don't know the answer. So root 40 plus 5 root 2, but I have to break down the square root of 40. So 4 and 10, so this is actually going to be 2 root 10 plus 5 root 2. This is the problem, right? So the root 2 is going to make it irrational because multiplying an irrational number times a rational number gives me irrational. irrational. Okay. Rewrite. This one is this is the 5th root of x times the 3rd root of x, or the cube root of x, divided by the 7th root of x. Remember what we did? We made them fractions, right? So the 5th root of x turns into x to the 1/5 power, and that's going to be to the x to the 1/3 power. So do this part first. Do the numerator first. I'm just going to add those together. So let's use your guys' rule. You guys love this rule. So top will be 8 and the bottom will be 15. I don't know how you guys came up with that. That's awesome. So x to the 8th over 15th power divided by x to the 1/7 power. So then we're going to, come on over here. I need a common denominator, right? So this is 8 to the 15th power minus 1 to the 7th power. It's going to be ugly, isn't it? That's going to be ugly. Sorry. All right, so I had to multiply this by 7. So this is going to be, hopefully you can see this, I'm going to make it smaller. 56 over 105 minus, and this is 15 over 105, so the answer is going to be something like, I don't know, 41 over 105, yuck. 41 looks to be prime, so this is going to be x to the 41st over 105th power. Whew. It's okay, you probably won't see that bad on the test itself. Got a couple more for you. The erasable board that I ordered should be in, I don't know, next year. So we'll see how that works out. That's totally a joke. That really wasn't even that funny. It's Tuesday morning, right? So we had no school yesterday, so I'm trying to get back in the joking mode. All right, write an equation. A number subtracted from 33, so subtracted from 33, is the same as that number squared and 9. Well, and that's probably not the best thing I should have used, but I'm just going to use the plus sign for that. I don't want you to solve it. I just want you to give me that. So that's good enough. Here, be careful, because a variable times a variable is that variable squared, right? So if I distribute this across, this is 4n squared here. And then this is just minus 16n plus 4n minus n squared. So really be careful when you do this. I got to put common denominators together. I'm sorry, common terms together, common denominators. I hate fractions. This is going to be 3n squared. And then this is just going to be minus 12n. Okay, so be really careful when you multiply those. N squared, n squared, n squared, n squared. Okay. Number 9, place in the scientific notation. All right, so it's a decimal, so it has to be a negative exponent. So how many times am I moving the decimal over? 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So this is going to be 3.88, do the whole thing, times 10 to the negative 4th. Negative does not mean negative number. It means it's a decimal. Okay? I had to move it over, or over. Number 10. How do you find the slant height of a cone? Well, let's look at a cone real quick. Right? That's a cone. Now, it looks like a triangle. Well, you're going to use Pythagorean theorem, right? So if I were to look at this two-dimensionally, we did this last week. That right there is the slant height. So I'm going to use PT all the way, Pythagorean theorem. Okay? Make sure that you understand that you have to cut the cone in half, though. So whatever the radius is, right? Whatever the radius is, you use the radius. You're not using diameter. This is not a right triangle. This is a right triangle. Okay? So make sure that you are looking at the appropriate thing. A can of soda has a volume of 108 pi. If the radius is 3 centimeters, what's the height? So volume of 108 pi. I'm giving you the answer. The answer is 108 pi. But the radius is 3, so what's the formula for a cylinder, right? And it's going to be, you can't see me looking at it, but it's right up there, and it's going to stay there. So volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. So it's pi, r is 3, squared h, right? And it wants to find the height. So this is going to be 108 pi equals 9 pi h, right? But I can get rid of the pi's because I'm dividing by pi on both sides. So this is going to be 108 equals 9h, right? And divide by 9 on both sides, and you should have 12. Height is 12. All right? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Help session Wednesday morning. Help session Thursday morning, hopefully. I'll let you know. All right. 9.5 minutes. Woo, long video. See you later.